Hello and welcome to episode 163 of the Imperial Truth podcast. I'm Greg. Joining me as ever is Mr. Howard. How you doing, Howard?
I'm doing very well, Greg, as usual. Starting to feel that tiredness just at the back of the eyes, though, as new fatherhood has a tendency to do. I've heard, and learning that firsthand at the moment, as I suspect are you, as you're a little bit ahead of the game, ahead of our game anyway. How are you doing? You all right?
Yep, sick kids, great fun.
They do that, don't they? They do get that.
Bless them. Yep, just God, takes it out of you, and bless Emma, she's been doing a lot of it.
Yeah,
But
goodness me.
it all adds up. I think the body's taking a bit of a toll, like wear and tear on the old body as well. Trying to avoid. I think I've got a little something, so you might hear some noises from me, so apologies
It's
if that is the case.
intended. It's the huskiness, the husky filter you've applied. I like that.
There's something, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? We'll do our best to struggle on. Before we go anywhere, Element Games, for all your hobby needs. Did you manage to resist the Black Friday deals?
I'm going to say in part. So the other more accurate version of that would be no. But I did initially, and then I got a text from my good friend Dan, who reached out and he said, "Have you seen this?" Like, yes, I very much have, Dan. And I was doing my best to resist it. He said, "But we could go halves." I was like, damn it! I was so close to being away from it. So yeah, we split a rather superbly priced Age of Darkness box set. Another one.
I managed to resist that.
And
I was like, I don't need another Spartan, which was the main reason for me doing it.
He was after a Spartan, and I've always got room for more Marines and Dreadnought, so that kind of happened. And we did grab a couple of Predators.
Yeah, maybe I could have done that, but I was like, you know what? I don't need it right now. I've got plenty to go on. It might cost me more later, but that's fine. And then when I kind of thought, oh, maybe I should, they were all gone anyway, so.
They went far quicker than I expected.
They did go quick.
I couldn't believe how quickly the Iconoclasts went.
Well, I can, 55 quid. I think a lot of people didn't jump on that because of the price. They might have had the other one, the standard one, but 55 quid is pretty good price for that. So,
yeah.
And it gets the stock off their shelf, apparently they might be going mailed order, GW.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently.
Which the Iconoclast and the War Master, or?
I don't know. I mean, literally, I've not heard full information. Yeah. It's like that's as much as I could tell.
Yeah, so. There's a logic to that. But yes, no, they were. That was a very good lightning deal, I thought.
Absolutely, and there's some. There's even more now. You got the Battle Forces box. Yeah, we can tell we're near Christmas. There's quite a lot of stuff. I've got to buy City expansion, and I've got to buy. What else? We got the books, haven't we? We got the Gottschrieb books. Ah, there we go. Yeah.
It's easy to forget that the gaming stores do. An Element is one of them. Actually, they don't all do it, but some of the stores, Element being one of them, do the books.
Yeah. So I was talking about the limited editions, which they won't do, but they will have the Heirs of the Emperor anthology, I'm sure.
Yeah. The general release books they will have,
and they do the same discount for those as well. So always a good one to think about if you're after books as well. So just waiting for mine with the old post office issues. Waiting for my little bits to pop in. I didn't get too much. I resisted a little bit, but there were some things I definitely wanted. So
what did you pick up?
The new Underworld starter set.
Oh, nice.
And some Grey Knights to fill out my Grey Knight kill team. Cool. So I've got all the options. And some Tyrannid Warriors for another kill team.
Nice.
Yeah, so long-term kind of little project. Just thought I'll get them while I'm getting 5 times crystals.
Yes, that certainly paid off. Yeah, with the way those things multiply quite quickly.
And I managed to resist, looking too far anywhere else.
Yeah.
Which is good, but yeah. Element Games doing more sterling work. It's good to see. And of course, I did have one friend who was like, "Oh, I missed out on a deal. I wonder if I could walk down Nottingham store and see if they'll do me the deal in store." Fair play.
They were
Worth it going it.
Yeah, absolutely. They were. They honoured. I think if people had the experience we had some things in the basket, and the things went out of stock from the Black Library, went off the Black Friday deal while it was in basket, and they honoured it, which I thought was very generous.
That is very generous. Don't have to do that at all.
I thought that was a very generous move of theirs. That I was very surprised that they did that. I wouldn't be at all surprised, and I think it would be fair enough if they said, "Oh, sorry, we can't fulfil this order." But everything so far is pointing to that being the case. But yeah, if they go through with that, fair play to them, because that they don't need to do that. But says a lot about their customer service.
Indeed. So fingers crossed you do get that. Yes, indeed. You just made me remember my horrible time trying to get Sanguinius limited edition.
Oh, you mean the first limited edition I've missed out on? That one.
Ditto.
Yeah, it was awful.
But
to be fair,
luckily
I wasn't.
a friend
that's perfect. Because you're actually collecting them,
lined up. Well, yeah. So, I need to read them straight away, kind of thing, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had a friend that was like, I need this book, because also as well, if I get one, and I'm not going to read it, I'll pass it on, like because you guys, like your little group, are always after them.
That is true, and that was largely, I think, that's how that's worked this time. I think Dan's going to sort me out, but I think he's moving his on. But I'm not actually collecting that series, so I wasn't super worried. It wasn't Siege of Terror levels of preparation and panic. But I was out with some friends who were visiting, and I just excused myself from the breakfast we were having. I just give me 1 second, thinking I'll step to one side and do it on the mobile. This is at 5 to 10. I was still trying to get to the cart, not even trying to check out. I was trying to get to the cart at about 2 minutes past 10. Eventually got there, hit checkout, and it said, "These items can't complete because it's out of stock." Like, awesome. It's taken you 8 minutes just to navigate around within the bloody website, not even go through the checkout process. The website seemed to take an absolute kicking for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's a collectible series. It's Sanguinius. Yeah, there you go. I had Little 'Un by myself. I was like, that's all right, because he'll go off for his nap beforehand. And it took ages for him to get. Well, he started to go for his nap, went to put him down, woke up.
Are you watching the clock?
Went down. Yeah, I was like, I've got time. Started to go to sleep again, went to put him down in a different place, woke up. Eventually did get him off at about 9:52. Computer was already on. Ran in here, tried to get it. No luck. It was. I mean, it didn't break this. It didn't break the website.
No,
it almost did.
Yeah, it was slowing it down. So yeah, it was clearly popular. I mean, I know these obviously they're popular, the Primarch series, and as you say, Sanguinius is probably what tipped it to the higher end. But I didn't quite expect it to slow down that way.
No, and of course the scalpers are, feed that a little bit.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. But we've got because it's Chris Wright, isn't it, as well? So popular author.
Yeah.
So looking forward to reading that soon. We also just doing things a little bit out of sequence. We've got I think Amazon have got the date for the first of the last books for the Heresy.
Yes, that is out there, and which I'm going to look up exactly what that information was.
March.
It was March. There we go. Garrow is shown on the coming soon page as well. The Garrow novella,
yeah.
I think, because the coming soon page of Black Library was updated. I think the Garrow novella is coming in January.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and of course, I mean, Amazon have been wrong on their dates before, and obviously we've got a 3-month period between limited edition and regular book coming out, so be interesting to see when that does get released.
Yes. Yes. We've got a Black Library preview coming up.
We have, which by the time a lot of you listen to this might already
Might have
been
taken place, but that might be
Indeed.
because that will. It was at Black Library Celebration this year, February this year, that Dominion, Zephon, and Fafnir Ran were released. Unlikely
Yeah, but
that we're going to get
yes.
the same thing, but
So,
they might well hear about it, because I would imagine Black Library Celebration will be the thing that will be previewed.
yeah, so we got Garrow Knight of the Grey.
Yeah.
In both formats is January.
That's right.
And Siege of Terra Mortis in regular. In paperback edition, sorry. But that's as far as we've got on that. I could see it being that Black Library Celebration for,
which might mean
would
a
fit.
tie-in models. We have doesn't necessarily mean it will, but that's a possibility. We've had the ghosts. We've had Mr. Gaunt and his ghosts, and we've had those two. I'm not sure Gaunt's ghost was released at part of the celebration. Anyway, we're about 3 months out of when they typically have celebration. So my suspicion is that they will talk about some events there. Maybe we get some models. Maybe Heresy? I doubt it, though, given that we've had that already.
Yeah, be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, but exciting that we've got those next two books, and that will probably be the conclusion of Mr. Garrow's story arc, I assume.
I think they said it was.
They've even confirmed that. Lovely.
I think they did. I'm trying to remember now, but I mean, there's not many more books to come out. Time to conclude that. I think. Here we go. Among the ashes of the Imperial Palace, Garrow must face his greatest enemy, his father Mortarion. Well, yes, right. I mean, if he faces Mortarion, there can't be too many ways out of that.
Particularly not.
But we shall see, I suppose.
Particularly not as it's set before Warhawk, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's cool.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that coming out, actually, to be honest. So that's good. I'll find time to read. That's the next one. But all settled into a new job now, so actually that might have some time to catch up. I'm not shadowing someone round, so get lunch breaks to myself and that kind of thing. So
nice.
Hopefully a little bit more reading might happen.
With the books coming up, that's going to be pretty handy.
Indeedly doodly. Right, shall we talk about what's been going on?
Let's do it, because there's been some stuff.
There has. So what have we got here? So let's start with Iron Hand's heads and shoulder pads.
Some of the nicest, in my opinion. I think the heads are. I'm a fan. Of those Iron Hand's heads, I was a fan.
So I kind of like them. There's a little bit of fallout of the power armor and fallout about them to me, which is fine. It's the overlapping plates on the faces. Every time I look at them, I think my eyes gone a bit blurry. And I think it takes me a while to remember there's two of them. It's a design choice. I'm not the greatest fan, but not because I don't think they look good. It just draws me out a little bit.
I'm personally a fan of designs of these helmets that vary from the beak of the Mark 6. Obviously, that's a distinctive element, arguably the most distinctive element of the Mark 6 armor. But I do think having some variety there is quite cool. So I've quite liked the helmets that deviate from that, and the ones that stick more closely to the Mark 6 template. I sort of think, well, is there a great deal of point in having a expensive to design and produce variant when it's so subtly different. I'm
Pretty
looking
much
at
so,
you, Ultramarines. Whereas these deviate substantially from that have a certain nod back to it. I do think the bear head was almost amusingly Emperor's Children. It's in
It's a
style.
little bit, isn't it?
A particular Emperor's Children
Yeah.
head at that. But overall, I thought that was quite a cool set.
So in the profile pic, where you can't see the bottom plate of the faceplate, I think it looks fantastic. But it's just that double layered plating for me. It's a very small
I've
thing.
got a feeling if you
Just
saw it in person, it might look quite different.
maybe. So it just looks like, yeah, it's such a personal thing. I don't think it's bad. It looks. Sometimes I sit there and think, someone's got a copy of that and like layered it wrong. But yeah, I mean, at least they're different. They're not just Ultramarines. Talking of which,
it was designed to segue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money for Mark 6 heads, isn't it?
They're the same. But obviously, they're not. Obviously, there are differences, but I mean, they're so minor. You know, a stripe down a molded in stripe down the head. Okay.
So in a weird way, if these were plastic, great.
Yeah.
Because I'd consider them, not just for Ultramarines. Because things like, I quite like the beaks on them. I think they're quite nice. That molded line, for people who are lazy or not very good at painting, to have sergeant heads.
Fair enough.
Is really good. Like, simple. But you're just not going to pay the extra price for.
It just seems, as you say, seems a shame for something where they've had to go for quite an expense to design and set these things up and release them, and then we as customers having to buy them at quite an outlay. You're like, am I going to notice that from 2 feet away? I'm not so sure.
How much are the head packs?
I don't know. I'm going to guess at £20. Let's see if I'm right.
I'm going to hold you to that, shall we? £20. Because if they were plastic, they'd be what, £7.50 or something, or £8?
I think you'd be
something like that.
£10, surely.
Well, no, because the Space Wolf ones that I bought, I mean, prices might have gone up, to be fair. So let's have a little look. Let's do the plastic ones first. Oh yeah, because you don't get as much. Dark Angels upgrade sprue is £9.50 for the shoulder pads and stuff. £16 for the Raven Guard with lots of shoulder pads and quite a few heads. It's not bad.
The heads are cheaper than I thought.
So that's mainly shoulder pads. Yeah. So like for that, to get a load of sergeant heads as a one-off purchase, I'd jump on it. Plastic. £14.50 for the resin heads starts to get a little bit expensive. Although,
I was a bit curious.
If you only needed,
curious. The older upgrade heads are more expensive by £1. I don't know why. Anyway, curious.
Yeah.
They're £15.50, and the new ones, which are the same number of heads, I think.
You get one more head in the new packs.
£1 less. Yep. All right. Fair enough.
I mean, let's not complain.
No, that's a good direction to go, isn't it? It's just a curious choice.
Maybe they've worked something out that makes it easier for them to.
There was an interesting design choice, I thought. This is a minor thing. The Iron Hands shoulder pads reintroduced trim. The Iron Hand shoulder pad has got trim on it. Admittedly, you only have to do it on the one side, but it just made me smile. But the rest of that, black isn't the easiest thing to paint, but that just was amusing. Thousand Suns?
Serves them right. Thousand Suns. Trying to get there. Yes. I don't know if I like these or not. I like the bear head.
Yes.
Bear head's very good. Is that a bit Yul Brynner, that bear head?
To me, that is a pretty damn good Son of Horus head as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it fits that. What's his name? What's Ammon? Who is he based on? Ben Kingsley.
Yes.
Ben, I bet the Ben Kingsley and Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of similarity there anyway. So that no, that feels like a Yul Brynner head to me.
Strangely,
which is not a bad thing.
The heads, despite the fact that they don't deviate from the Mark 6 pattern very much, they've just essentially got a headdress and a sort of stylized marks around the eye. I actually really quite like these. As the Mark 6 go, I thought these were quite nice. They're very Thousand Suns, I thought, which was cool. I thought that, but I particularly like the shoulder pads, picking up on the style of the older style ones, also introducing trim. But there was an older Mark IV pad that was very similar to that. I used to know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Thousand Suns. I think I prefer the Acheon pattern heads.
I agree with you. I do prefer the other ones.
And
yeah.
in general, I
actually think that the Mark IV upgrades for them is one of the best
cool.
upgrade sets.
And I know they're bringing out Mark 6 upgrades, right? Yeah, the whole point is it's upgrades for Mark 6. But I almost think, who cares? Like, once you get to upgrading like that. And I think most of the sets they've done, the older sets are better.
I would agree with that.
I mean, let's talk about Space Wars. You know.
Well, yeah. However, one good thing to come,
which sell well, apparently.
One good thing to come from the Space Wolves things is the number of jokes that they are able to make all the time.
I do like the fact they're just doubling down on it.
I completely agree.
I think it is.
I think that was the right choice. I thought the right marketing choice.
The thing is, so apparently in Warhammer World, they are the one set that's always sold out.
No way.
There's 40k people buying these, dude.
Fair enough. I mean, they do. Yeah.
You know it. You know it.
Surely
think about
other ways to get those heads. To get a wolf helmet head.
These are slightly different
than
the single wolf head you get, which is also, if I recall, it's quite small. The wolf helmet that you get on the sprue. So I think there is, there's, for no matter what people say, there's an element of the Space Wolf community who will be like, yeah, wolves, awesome wolves. And we'll want that. And that's cool, you only have to look at the Space Wolf army list with Murder Fangs and Wolf Thing and Wolf Death and whatever, they lean into it and cool, whatever, doesn't bother me. But they don't have old heads, they have whole leather masks. So, just stick to normal heads. The Thousand Suns ones, I'm not sold on the headdress.
It's
thing.
not.
I don't think it's bad.
It's not my favourite of the upgrades that have been released, but I thought that it's very Thousand Sunsy, and I thought they looked all right. I thought they looked pretty cool. There are upgrade sets.
So I think I'd go with the old ones.
That is largely true for pretty much all of the upgrade sets. I don't think there's a set I like more. That might say more for my.
I think the problem is when you've got a beaky helmet as well. It's a classic design. So, now if you look at the Ultramarines, well, it's distinctive for starters, the beaky helmet, right? So it has that design structure all of itself. So if you look at the Ultramarines, they've kept it more than most. But then you're wondering what the point is. So you fall into this weird place of, if you are going to go with the nose, the beak, how do you differentiate beyond that? Is it just sticking stuff on top?
Essentially, yes. Which
is not easy to get right.
No, it's not. No. Granted. The Death Guard ones are quite nice. But then they're another one that deviate from it wildly.
Yeah, let's have a little look. I'm trying to remember. Where are we, Death Guard? Yeah, because they're not really Mark 6 helmets.
Exactly. No.
So, it's the World Eaters as well. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the actual helmets themselves, I think are really cool. They're not Mark 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're Saran pattern.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, they're close to Mark 3s and 4s.
But actually,
I'm trying to remember.
relatively few of them. Now I look at it, relatively few of them are actually Mark 6. Imperial Fists aren't.
Yeah.
Sons of Horus aren't. World Eaters isn't. Space Wolves isn't.
Emperor's Children is, but they're a bit bland, aren't they?
Emperor's Children,
What we had?
Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Thousand Suns.
We've still got a few to go. We've got
We have.
Word Bearers, Salamanders.
I love how
can't think,
nervous these Salamanders are getting. Night Lords actually have had theirs, and they're Mark 6, and they're pretty good because they seem to just ride that line quite carefully of being.
Are
different.
they going to do Raven Guard ones? Bearing in mind the one head kit they've got is Mark 6.
Indeed.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
I think they will. Given what they've done with the Ultramarines, I could see them just doing, sculpting in the kind of breathing holes that you tend to get in a raven's beak.
They've got them on the old ones.
Yeah, exactly. I could see them just basically translating
the
that
head
across.
is really good. The old Raven Guard Mark 6 bear head.
Yeah.
I really like, actually.
Well, White Scars, theirs is given the subtle things that they've done for things like White Scars and Ultramarines, I can see the Raven Guard getting something like that. Salamanders,
yes.
Everyone's a bit nervous in the Salamanders world, it seems, because
yeah, but they've never quite gone that way. Like Space Wolves, I think they've chosen that because of the old Space Wolf head.
Yeah.
Like it's always been the motif, or it's always been a motif within the Legion. You've had the guy, the old classic metal model with a Space Wolf the actual wolf helmet. You've had the one on the plastic sprue. You've had the Wolf Priest. No, it's been around,
Slayer,
but yeah, a Drake head hasn't.
No.
So I don't know.
I really like the ones that was a surprise. And it's probably the one I would say is better than the previous upgrade set is the Iron Warriors ones. I prefer that I prefer the current one as a set because they've captured the Iron Warrior Legion icon. I thought there was some heads that didn't quite hit the mark in the previous set, whereas all the others I tend to like the previous sets more.
Just trying to remember now. It's been so many.
I have just been scrolling through them to remind me.
What feels like a really long time. Oh yeah, no, the Mark 6 Iron Warriors. But again, they're not beaks.
That's probably why I like them. But yeah, because they are.
So all the best ones are not beak.
They're divergent. Because the beak, if you're working with it, you either have the beak or go a different direction. A variant beak. I haven't yet seen a good version.
No, if you have the beak, you can't do much with the beak apart from a few air vents and whatever, or whatever they want to call them. So you're left with that head again, like where we said, and then it's just about putting stuff on it and making sure it doesn't look like it's just been plonked on.
Which you could say that's what the Night Lords is. I think that because that's just like essentially some bone bits, some skull bits on top of a Mark 6 beak. I think is what they've done with that. But I think that actually looks quite cool. But actually, I can't quite tell. It might be actually that isn't a beak. It is just fully replaced with a skull.
I don't think it's quite that beaky, is it? Let's have a little look.
This is a surprisingly deep dive into helmet design.
Isn't it? It's well worth it, of course. Let me have a little look. Night Lord's side helmet. No, it's not a beak.
No, you're right. It isn't.
So it's more. Well, it's more of a parrot beak, isn't it? Like a little curve down. But yeah, it's not a beaky helmet.
No.
It's got a little bit of protrusion, but it's not a beaky helmet. So again, I think I just think you're limited by the shape of the
I think so
shape of the helmet, and you and unfortunately you get to a point where it is literally we're shoving stuff on top of this and Sons of Horus. That's not a beak.
No, it's not. It's a snout.
It's a snout. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think you're just and that allows them to be more subtle.
Yeah.
Around the rest of the head, and it still creates. They're quite cool, actually. What I could see me doing is stealing a load of different helmets. Like, there's no reason those Sons of Horus ones couldn't work on any Legion. Oh, Iron Warriors with
Yeah,
those
you could easily put the
would look amazing.
the Imperial Fists and Dark Angels. Those are virtually interchangeable. They're very similar.
So yeah, I think depending on what squad you're putting them on as well.
Mm.
So if you've got a brutal kind of maybe like a breacher squad, something like the Iron Warriors is going to work for any Legion almost. Again, Dark Angels, really good, not beaks.
It's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a sad truth by the looks of it. I'll just having a look at I can't remember and again, yeah, and again, those because they're just knightly helmets, both the Dark Angels and the Imperial Fists. If you've got a unit that is, a combat unit maybe that is all about the blades, trying to think of other things that you could have. It depends how you want to set them up. Yeah, you can borrow those as well. Obviously, there's 3 Dark Angel symbols on 3 helmets. The other 6 are absolutely fine.
I can't find because I had a memory like you did of the Raven Guard Mark VI having the sort of sculpted out, for want of a better term, breathing holes.
3 of them do.
I'm looking.
Are you on the Forge World website? 4 of them.
They've got the air vents. That's not what I mean.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. Oh, right,
no, I'm just thinking more like you think of a bird's beak, particularly like a raven or something like that,
right.
and they've got these on the top. Essentially, the nose
is
built into it.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
they sort of these. I'm pretty sure I've seen that. I wondered if it was the more Dathan or Dark Furies, but it's neither of those either. Maybe it was one of the special characters.
I do like the White Scars, actually. I think they're possibly the best actual beaky heads.
They were a bit of a sleeper hit, I thought. As you say, initially you look at them, you're like, oh, they're just the same as all the others. You're like, actually, no, they're not.
But they're not. They're sleeker.
No, they are, yeah.
And maybe the paint scheme helps with it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something I might have to do as I go through some of my Legion stuff, is look at what other helmets I can borrow.
I mean, White Scars for Space Forces, it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, potentially.
They're basically the same, aren't they? Top knots and beards, they're basically the same.
All good. Yeah, something like, if you've got destroyer squads or something, you can make the helmets really brutal, and you could pick some of those other. You could use even the Night Lords helmets for like the unit that knows they're going to go forwards and take names before they get shot at and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of scope there to go and buy the odd head set.
Yeah.
Because you only need one,
maybe
one or two.
Yeah, I can see that working well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little unit of sort of proto-tech marines or something with the Iron Hands heads.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few that maybe don't work quite so well, like the World Eaters. Although I'd be interested to see them with the bunny ears off. They might just look a bit too flat, conical. But yeah, no, that's definitely something I might have to have a little look at. I like that idea.
Yeah, they've got quite the library now, haven't they? Mm. The old Iron Hands Legion upgrade set gets used all over the place.
The Iron Hands, well.
The helmets here, the Mark III helmets with bionic eyes.
Yes.
Coming out left, right, and centre. That was a hell of a set. Is a hell of a set. It's still available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure those World Eaters heads. I think I don't know. They could have a certain brutal look to them.
They could easily look a little bit stupid though.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, the old Iron Hands. Yeah, definitely. It's not that far off. Just some of the Mark IIs we see anyway. But yeah, no, that's something where if you want to mix up your Legion, make it stand out a little bit, and provide a little extra something, like that's an easy conversion. for want of a better word, to make a particular unit stand out from the other units. Something like a vet squad or a command squad, a combat command squad. Something like the fists or something like that could work really well.
Yeah.
All good. What else did we have? We had an exemplary battle.
We did, and quite an interesting one. One I actually read.
Oh, you
cover
have?
to cover.
Yeah.
I know. Get me.
Yeah.
It was. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't. Was totally unfamiliar with the battle that it was referring to. Well, obviously it's touched on. I'd heard of Nearcon City, Nearcon, I think Nyrcon, Nearcon.
Oh dear.
And as part of the Beta Garmin conflict, so I'd heard about that aspect of it, but this particular part of it, I had no idea, and I found it really quite a cool piece of background. Particularly anything shining the light on salamanders. It's always nice to see them represented, and a particularly nice example unit they showed in the article too.
Yeah.
Black painted salamanders with one green, one gold pad and a green helmet. Oh, it looks super cool.
It definitely stands out as being a bit different.
A variant, which I think is always nice to have.
Yeah,
which
indeed.
They touch on specifically.
So I haven't heard many people talk about the adherence squad. So 5 dudes for 140 points. Dragon Breath's Combi Flamer. Combi Flamers. There's that question, isn't there? Does that count as a flamer for? It's a Combi Flamer, so yeah, you can shoot it all the time, can't you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Relentless for whatever that's worth for them. What else can they have? +5 dudes. Can have a heavy flamer rather than the Combi Flamer. Artificer armor, usual stuff. Metal bombs on the sergeant. So, start of any assault phase leadership test made against the leadership of 7. If it's passed, it gains Feel No Pain 6+, and improve their weapon skill characteristic for 5. Guided by prophecy. It's an interesting rule. It's a funny way of making it work. There's not a lot that does something like that with a set number on a leadership test.
It's curious that the leadership test is that they hard cap the leadership, or they hard set, I should say, the leadership at 7, rather than using the unit's leadership, presumably to stop it being abused by attaching someone to them.
But, I mean, the adherent sergeant's leadership 9 anyway. So
well, exactly. Yeah,
that's only 1 or 2
presumably
characters. They're going to make it 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, they want it going off just over half the time. It's not reliable then, I suppose. What are they armed with? Bolt pistol, chainsword, crack grenades, and only the sergeant can take something else. So cool.
They're a sort of interesting blend of a spoiler squad and a tactical support squad.
So they're combi flamers.
A mixture of two.
Yeah, minor combi weapon. Strength 5, AP 4, Assault 1, Dragon's Breath, which is their rule, isn't it? Which I can't remember, to be honest, for my sins. Salamander's not being something.
Oh no!
I'm going to try and.
No, I don't know what that rule. I thought that was the. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yes, no. Salamander's not being an army. I see very often around me and what have you. Yeah, having that guided by prophecy to help them out in combat when they have no real combat. Right, going to weapon skill 5 is good, but you're not doing a lot with it.
No, but it gives them an edge over things like despoiler squads.
Well, does it? Because they'll be attack squads certainly, but other squads.
It gives you an edge over a despoiler squad. It doesn't give you an edge over a legion.
Does it? If that despoiler squad's got choice of maybe Dragon's Breath.
Well, it not maybe it doesn't give you an edge, but it gives you something because the despoiler squads are going to be at weapon skill 4.
But if they've got,
you're hitting them on 3s, then you're on 5s.
Yeah, but you've got not many dudes with 2 attacks each. They've got chainswords, I suppose. But if your opponent's got decent weapons, then
Yeah, okay.
they're
If
killing you out.
if your opponents put in
Yeah,
power weapons and things, yes, fair enough.
yeah. Which, well, I mean, anything that's charging them. So when attacking using the Wall of Death special rule, which is not just when you're being charged, it's other things, isn't there? A weapon with a special rule inflicts D6 hits instead of D3.
Okay.
So you're charging them if
Per
there's
weapon, blimey.
yeah. Even if there's 4 of them left, 4d6, it's strength 5. Yeah, I suppose a unit of 10 some things charging them, you're going to lose some on the way in. You might be fighting then against weapon skill 5. They've got a decent amount of attacks. Yeah, okay. Nothing to write home about, but quite interesting. Yeah, so
Which
not
I think
going to stand
feel
up to anything remotely combat based, but hey,
a nice alternative. I think not better than an alternative to a despoiler squad. Assuming you're not running your despoiler squads in, because they can take transports, can't they? Yeah.
I mean, the one thing it could do. So the one thing you are looking at there is if you are going to Feel No Pain 6 up and Weapon Skill 5, is you might be hanging around. So you might be holding a unit up or waiting for something to come in.
That's kind of what I'm thinking here. There's slightly more defensive despoiler squad, a just defensive variant of a despoiler squad. The only thing is, of course, it's, as you say, it's 50% of the time. Is it that, maybe?
Just over.
My GCSE maths apparently is eluding me. That's actually not super reliable, but regardless, the flamers are quite cool. Then you could say so as a flamer support squad.
Indeed, that's cool.
Yeah, I like them. I like them as a variant.
And then from there we've got the Alpha Legion Efrit Disruption Cadre. So again, I mean they're both they're 2 wounds. Adherence squad.
A lot of people got very excited about this on the various groups I follow and things. People were getting initially very excited, then sort of read it a few times. The excitement dipped a bit, but then went back up again when they got kind of.
This is skill 5. 2 wounds.
Yes.
2 attacks. Bane strike. Shotguns.
It's the only Alpha Legion. It's the first, I should say, Alpha Legion power armored 2 wound unit.
Specific, yeah. That's cool. Infiltrate Scout. They may have Nemesis bolters. They can have melter bombs, power daggers. And they've got their disruptors and the Bane Strike shotgun they come with. So the disruption array is a gun, 12-inch range, assault 1, Hydra's Whale. Unit suffers 1 or more hits. They must reduce their leadership characteristic by 1 till the end of the controlling player's next turn. Can only be affected by a single instance of this rule at a time. Do not gain the benefits of war gear that models in the unit include augury or vox in its name till the start of the active player's next turn. You can not use it to make a shooting attack as part of a reaction or a snapshot. They come with that, don't they? So that's just 1 array. So you've got to hit.
I was just rereading it because the
1 or more hits. No, it would be all of them would have it because they come with Bane Strike. Yeah, bolt. Yeah, so you'll have to select who's using. That'd be an interesting one because it says 12-inch range.
Well, they've all got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was misplaced there. So they've also got the Bane Strike shotguns. So 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, assault 2, shred, breaching 6+, concussive 1. 6+ breaching is nice. 2 shots.
I think that's quite a good gun.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's also concussive, pretty useful rule. Shred is always useful.
Concussive is quite good when you combine it with Hydra's Whale, which gives you the -1 LD.
Yeah. So the question here then is, I suppose it's hits, isn't it, from Hydra's Whale, and your ballistic skill 5. I don't know what the rules are on choosing weapons. I assume they can choose which weapons, so 2 of them could shoot Hydra's whales.
Yeah,
Not,
I would.
not,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd have to double check that though.
it's a question of when you declare that. Logically, you would
Oh no,
declare it.
you'd have to declare it when you nominate your target and
Yeah.
what you're shooting. So 2 out of the unit maybe, just to make sure you hit for that. If you want to turn off
Yeah.
Augury or Vox, I suppose you might not always need to be turning off the Augury or Vox. You can just open up with the shotguns if you're going
Yeah,
that way.
because you could easily, because you essentially make that choice every time you fire a tactical marine, because he could fire his bolt pistol, he could fire his bolter.
Yes, no, the difference being,
the order.
no. The difference being, you almost always, like the sergeant's only equipped with a pistol. So in old rules, like could you fire different weapons like that? I suppose the missile launcher will have a bolt gun, although they might replace their bolt guns with missile launchers.
Yeah, but the Marines always have a bolter and a bolt pistol.
Yeah,
You're choosing to fire the bolter typically.
Yeah, but you're doing that for a whole unit typically.
I see.
So you end up in a weird.
But in a veteran squad, you'd have some guys with melter guns, some
You
guys
usually
with bolters.
exchange your bolt gun for a melter gun.
Yes.
So you can't. So there's a difference between. So
I see. Yeah. Okay.
in combat,
exchange. Yeah. Okay. I get you.
under
Yeah,
old
yeah.
rules, I don't know what the rules say. I assume that would be fine, but that's worth checking.
It's just worth to see how it works. But I mean, logic dictates that you would just pick a number. And you say, right, this many are firing Hydra's Whale, this many are firing the shotguns. Now, the thing with Hydra's Whale was, did that turn off Augury Web? And the general feeling is it does not.
Why is that? Has it not got Augury in the title?
It does have Augury in the title, but it's to do with the timing. Augury webs kick in after this thing turns off. This thing it affects the unit.
Until the start of the active player's next turn.
The general interpretation I've seen. Well, this is where
you are the active player when you're shooting.
In addition, units affected by this special rule did not gain the benefits of any, because the thing above is the controlling player's next turn, meaning the controlling player of the unit. Whereas this bit is different. As you said, the second sentence is different. Do not gain the benefits of any war gear that models in that unit have. That includes Augury Web until the start of the active player's next turn. That's right. So the Augury Web would kick in after that's
the start
of
your next turn. Now the Augury Web is
your turn would start. The Augury Web would turn off. Then you bring the units in, and in the movement phase, the Augury Web would kick it. Would be effective.
But it does turn it off in their turn.
It does.
But that's such a minor case. Like you know.
Yeah, well, I mean that's.
Yeah, to be honest,
in their turn, it's not very useful, but it would be very powerful if it turned off Augury Webs for a turn.
It would, but also you've got to be within 12 inches. So.
Oh yeah, you'd have to get the unit there. Yeah.
If I know you've got a bunch of these guys and you're going to infiltrate them, you have to be X amount of distance. I can say, I'm just going to leave this guy there, and you will never be able to reach him because my unit will be in front of you, stopping you moving.
Yes.
And I'm going to be 14 inches behind that unit.
It would be quite cool. Yeah, absolutely. But it would be quite cool if there was there was something. It was making you have to react to something, to the threat of this thing. You're playing Alpha Legion. They might be. You're going to have to suddenly start protecting your things with Augury Webs, your Scorpions or whatever.
As a standalone unit, they're cool. I don't think they're like their guns are brilliant and blah, blah, blah.
Oh no,
they're all right. They're good.
They're not ridiculous by any stretch. I think they're just an interesting alternative.
But in an army where you can have things like Seekers who are sniping out characters with melter guns and things like that.
Yeah.
Seekers the right unit. Either way, in an army where you can have multiple infiltrating threats,
yes.
that are good and Alpha Legion are good at doing that, then they become a little bit more powerful. Again,
Yes.
combat-wise, what have they got? A bolt pistol.
Yeah.
So nothing. So haven't even got chainswords. So yep, your concussive can take them down to weapon skill, a basic unit down to weapon skill 3, which is good. But you're
they are.
relying on your effort principle with a power weapon
Oh yeah, no, that's not going
to
to
be able to
work.
clear out. So yeah,
They have to
there's
work in concert with something else, which is kind
yeah,
of Alpha Legion-y.
yeah. So they're limited in that
Yeah.
aspect of it, but it's still cool. And 12-inch range is a very short range.
Yeah.
So you are in trouble if you do move in and don't get off. Enemy makes some good saves. Even with breaching 6+, what you're going to be firing 5 of these guys, it's only 10 shots.
Yeah.
It's quite easy not to get any breaching and not to do anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're trying to be sneaky with them. It's not a mainline unit in that respect, but they're cool.
Nemesis bolters. I suppose it's ballistic skill 5.
Yeah.
Not sure the Nemesis bolters are the optimum choice here.
Well,
maybe they are.
2 wound models. See, when I initially took Pride of the Legion on my Space Wolves, because I had 2 Spartans with 2 units of Terminators in them, I ran Vets as my 2 units of Vets with Nemesis bolters, and you are losing a little bit of what you pay for. But these guys, ballistic skill 5. The problem is, it's 145 points, 195 points.
That's the thing.
To take them,
extra 50 points, and that's what's quite pricey.
And for all that Nemesis bolters are good, they don't win you the game by themselves.
Which is why I feel like you want to have the unit cheap. So Recon Marines are quite good for that. Arguably, even Scouts.
Yeah, I mean, these do infiltrate as well with Scout, so you could have them doing multiple jobs with their Nemesis bolt guns. They're not relentless though, so yeah. Shroud bombs is pretty cool, keeping the enemy further away from you.
Which with Alpha Legion means you're 8 inches away.
Yeah, I think if they had more options combat-wise, you could have a you'd only need to put 1 or 2 good weapons in there to be able to have a unit that is pinging down fire and also can handle itself, and then maybe it becomes a bit more useful. But yeah, maybe the other problem with them is like you think, okay, cool, they've got the bolt size shotguns. If I could give the sergeant a melter bomb. No, you can't do that. It's 25 points to give the whole squad melter bombs if you're keeping them at 5. So, and maybe that was a very valid decision in a way.
Because that is the brief, really, isn't it, for these exemplary battle things? Is make a cool unit, not make a unit that's like, oh, that's ridiculous, I must have that. There are some you could argue are a little bit more tempting than others, but still, these two I think fit that bill really well.
Yeah, I think they've definitely got you need to be thinking about how you're going to use them in your army.
Absolutely.
If you are going to be dropping troops in on turn 2, these guys to step up and hit with their Hydra's whale, could be really valuable. Again, it's not always straightforward. If I've got a heavy support squad that I know needs to do the work, then they're going to be 15 inches behind my line to make sure that you can't do that kind of thing. But you're still affecting the game in that respect. And you can just go and hit something else or bide your time or what have you. So it's not like they're completely useless at all. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was a cool exemplary battle, and they've confirmed there's only one more in the current series, but they intend to.
Well, they can have power daggers as well, can't they?
They can.
25 points for the whole unit. So if you do take a bigger unit, it's quite a sink. But 25 points, yeah, don't know if that does enough. But yeah, cool. Yeah, one more to come.
You can't. I was just seeing if you could push these. And that's interesting. I guess the power daggers become quite good value if you take it up to a 10-man squad because it's 25 points regardless.
But I don't think
It's a
these
lot of
work
points at
that
that
well
point.
as 10-man squads.
No, I agree.
Also,
And
there's
there's
a
a
big
lot of
unit to
points.
infiltrate.
Yeah, it's a lot of points at that point as well.
So
we just got one more.
you're losing. Yeah. What legions we got?
Blood Angels and somebody.
Somebody else. Yep. Cool. Well, yeah. I think we might have to. It's weird. Starting to feel a bit 40k, and then we've got units everywhere. So I hardly look through the the expanded legion options. But again, with Space Wars, you don't need to as much. But there's you kind of forget sometimes that things are available.
Yeah, I mean they've got mixed reactions, haven't they? Those generally, to say the least. I mean, it's nice to have the expanded things there and things that people that have spent time and considerable effort to make up. It's nice to have rules for them, but it's the core rules really that are.
Well, I think over time those documents will disappear.
Yes.
And units will be brought in or moved on or what have you. I mean, that would be the general idea, I would have thought.
Yes.
I mean, that's the one thing that we could do with is a for specialist design studios to come out and say this is how we're moving forwards with this game, and I'm sure we will get that once we've got everything out, and we'll get a 3-month preview of the first campaign book, which is how I assume it's going to be done. Could easily be wrong, but it would make sense. So, and then we could look at things like some of the units in those books. We could look at a Siege of Terror. I mean, we've got 4 Demon Primarchs on Terra that don't have Demon Primarch rules. Right. So you can only assume they're going to come in time. We've got all these different toys out there that are or aren't used. This isn't Necromunda. This isn't Adeptus Titanicus, where they can just leave it and put out something every 6 months and hope you like it. They've committed here in a big time, and you see people saying, "Oh, is it slowing down?" There's stupid clickbait titles out there and stuff like that. It's like, whoa, the game's been out how long? Not even 6 months. Could we do with more plastic infantry squads for different things? Yeah, probably. But they've also got to keep you buying stuff over a long period of time. It would be nice to get an update on. I mean, we're still waiting. We must have a PDF drop in this month. Like the
demons.
The demons must be out soon. We'll see if the solar get a kind of not listed. I don't know if they will or not. Once the demons is out, I don't think militia. And then everything's kind of basically out there that we've had.
Yes.
So you would hope from then on, start of next year, that we start to see how they're going to be moving forwards. I'm not really worried, to be honest.
Not worried. No, it's just going to be interesting, isn't it? To see what.
Yeah. Well, some people are worried, and I think it's a little bit their own anticipation. I think people get themselves worked up far too much.
What do you think the worry is? What is the fear?
It's this kind of false, kind of like everything's perspective at the end of the day, right? But there's this belief that Forge World will burn us again and withdraw support. And I don't know if a lot of it goes back to when they stopped doing specialist games years ago, but it's like it's such a different environment from then. Like you don't release this game, even if they didn't do all the plastics. You don't do a big release like that and then like let it trail off within a year even. When you then double down with the amount of investment they put into plastic, like then they have to justify that over years. And this isn't a lot of stuff that, like, less and less of this stuff is translating straight into 40k now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of Primaris. So yes, you can take whatever in whatever tank in 40k, but they don't keep those rules as up to date as they do the stuff that they're pushing out. They are diverging that little more. Like Heresy's here to stay for a good long while.
Well, it's a main game system now, if those terms still mean something.
Yeah.
Which I think they do.
Well, I think they do.
Yeah.
Can you justifiably look at Adeptus Titanicus and say, what's going on with this game? Yeah, probably. I don't think Adeptus Titanicus is dead, but I don't think specialists are making that very clear. And you can, it's trailed off quite largely. I think part of that might be things like Heresy, but Heresy's not. It's getting started. There's lots to come. I think they'll do some cool stuff. But what is interesting is I saw someone saying that there's not the clamour around the Demons release of rules that there has been around Solar and Militia. Part of me wondered if that was a kind of a sign of the fan bases for those armies. I don't know. Or whether demons were quite a lot of, well, I've got a load of demons, so I'll use them. I mean, I've got a big demon army that only gets used for Heresy, but it'll come. You will have to wait. It'll come. There seemed to be, particularly with Auxilia and Militia, a lot of, oh my God, is it going to come? What are we going to get? And maybe that could be justified with, the Auxilia's become more flexible than it was. And we don't really know what's happening with Militia. But, I've got confidence that my demon's going to be used, so I'm cool. Right, it will happen.
Yeah, I could see them.
We got a long way to go.
Happy. Oh, they're quite happy. There is more commonly. They are more commonly sharing roadmaps now. They've done a roadmap for Heresy. I could see them doing an updated roadmap for Heresy in a while. Particularly as they're doing that with 40k and an AOS, saying these are the upcoming, in those cases, codexes and battle tomes. I could see them doing something once we reach the end point, or doing an update of it as they did with Necromunda. As I say, they've done it for other previously specialist games. So I could see them.
So this is the one thing. This is the one thing where GW probably do need to step up. Yeah, 7th of June that roadmap came out, and it lists June, July, August, September, October.
Oh, okay. So now it would be about the right time.
We are in December.
We could do with one now coming to say this is what's up next. Yeah.
Liber Imperium got pushed into November. Fair enough. Whatever.
Yeah.
Haven't got a problem with that. Cool. But we haven't known of any November, December. We don't know what's going on. But we've gone through your roadmap. Where's our next roadmap? I think it should be out. And this is where what were people getting on about GW recently? I can't remember what it was. I think it was about stuff like this actually. I saw 412 were getting some grief in whatever forum I was on or whatever. I'm not defending GW, but there are definitely reasons why some things happen, and you can sort of see that. But they can get a lot better at their communication, and whether it's different departments not talking, or whether it's, I don't know what it is, decisions just getting delayed and lost and blah 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 blah. Well, that roadmap's finished. Where next? You've got a whole mainline game system where no one knows where it's going, and that does make people nervous. I understand that. I don't think you should be nervous as to what's happening with this game. Obviously, something's going to happen to it, but it would be great if they could come out and say there's a release in. You don't have to tell us what it is. There's a book release. March. Cool. No worries. We can look forward to that, and we can. That will give us a hint as to what we're doing. I think the roadmap should be. If you're going to have roadmaps, they should be updated.
Yes. How regularly is an interesting question, but I think, as you say, it would be quite nice to see one around about now. I feel like at the point when you're not. I think
if you're going to do roadmaps,
that's a shame.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do roadmaps and you're going to commit, and they have in other game systems, if you're going to commit to roadmaps, they gave us the Age of Sigmar and 40k ones, didn't they? Where they don't tell you what's coming, they're just like order book or what have you. I don't think at any time you should be left. I don't think the gap between one roadmap ending and the next one starting should be very big. Because otherwise, like, you know, is it a roadmap or is it just some information you've thrown at us? It's not, you know. I think they can improve on that. Because even though I can be quite harsh and cynical about the way some people look at the information we get from Games Workshop, you know, particularly around like a few years ago when people, you know, were losing their stuff about the game not being supported, and we were like, well, it is, you know, we just have to wait. You've got to understand that I may be in the minority there. Maybe we are in the minority. Maybe we do look deeper than other people. And if enough people are clamoring, that creates a sense of panic.
People are asking those questions, and it's all speculation, or just
it's one of those things. It might not be
not great.
Yeah, it might not always be Games Workshop's fault, but it's their responsibility to deal with it. So, yeah.
Well, you know, hopefully it would be, because there's not any obvious events coming up either, official ones where we're like, oh, we've got a preview
yes.
this.
Oh, yes, we have.
Have we?
Yes. So last year they started at LVO, so late January, 27th or something like that. Will be LVO.
That's 2 months away.
It's 2 months away. Well, December will always be quiet.
True.
We might get a little preview of something on Christmas Day. No, it has happened before, but it's a little something. But we can look at LVO.
Because they used to do a New Year's Open Day, which they obviously don't want to do that now. We'd have heard about it, but they do sometimes do a little sort of coming this year sizzle reel, which is how they teased the War Master. I famously remember as people.
Well, they might even do a preview.
Well, that's what I wonder. New Year's
Day preview or New Year preview.
That would be quite cool. Because that would be an ideal time to release a roadmap.
Yeah, so you've got a Christmas Day reveal that they have done in the past, a New Year's Day event thing that they have done in the past, and you look forward to coming to what's coming again. You've got then you've got the LVO preview, which I'm sure they'll be doing again this year. So I would suspect Heresy to be on that in some form. And then 2 months later, you've got Adepticon, which is that, you know, they consider one of their big ones. And then you've got Fest 2 months after that. So maybe it's just a quiet time, but it still doesn't look good when there's lack of information.
No, I agree.
Even if it was to come out and say, you know, cool, we got to the end of the roadmap, but early next year, keep your eyes out for more information.
I think that's all it needs.
It does, because it just puts people's mind at rest. Because some, you know, our brains as humans, some people more than others, just need to be reassured. That's all it is. It's a reassurance. Oh, they haven't forgotten us.
Or something to look forward to. I just like to look forward to something.
Yeah, it keeps you juiced as well. So
exactly. That's. I think it's the hype is the thing.
Yeah. So maybe they could be a little bit better at, and it's not something I need per se as much as other people, but you know, even for grumpy old gits like me, it can help. So you know, and I know I'm in the minority on that one.
No, I think that's fair.
Well, okay, cool. Should we hit the music?
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for listening to another episode of the Imperial Truth. Slightly shorter one. It's only a part 1. We have part 2 coming. Again, apologies that it took a little bit longer, but there were some editing issues, and there might be some points in this recording whether Howard and I seem a little bit out of sync, either talking over each other or some weird pauses. That's because something went wrong and I don't really know, and it wasn't clean and clear to sort out. So I did my best. I hope you enjoyed a slightly different kind of piece there, where we talk a lot about helmets. But as I say, we'll be back. Part 2 will be out before we go on to the next episode in the new year. Just a quick reminder, if you do want to support the show and you've got pennies left in your after Christmas, you can order from Element Games through the link, and that helps support us. If you want to as well, you can put in our Element codes, which are written on the show notes. If you need to look for them, make sure you get your double crystals. And those crystals can help me or Howard, depending on how you want to go. Go with Howard. It's fine. It's all good. And the other ways you can support the show, we do have a Patreon. If you believe we're worth anything to listen to, then you can support us on Patreon from as little as 99 cents, I think it is, or $1 a month. You can support us there. We don't do anything for it. Nothing's locked behind any paywalls, anything like that. It's literally an opportunity that people asked for to say thank you for the show and to support the show and pay for the things we purchase, like hosting, etc., etc. If you don't want to do that, completely understandable, no problems whatsoever. You can rate and review us wherever you listen to us: iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, your podcatcher of choice. You can give us a 5-star review if you think we're worth it. If you don't think we're worth it, well, let us know. And maybe a 3 or 4-star review is still fine. But no, seriously, you can do that if you want, and you can tell other people about us as we continue to try and put out content for you people. But I think that's probably. Oh no! If you've got any feedback, got any questions, next episode we are going to do listeners FAQs. Why not? Or not FAQs, listeners questions. So feel free to send in some questions you want answered by us, in whatever respect that may be. We'll do my best to answer them. The silly ones might get a very short, silly answer. You never know, but we can jump on that. And if you've got any ideas for future topics or anything like that, then feel free. Greg at theimperialtruth.com, on Instagram at Charterfang, on Twitter at Charterfang, and at Imperial_Truth. Trying to remember which one it was now. And of course on Facebook, all that jazz. So plenty of opportunities there to support us in various forms if you so wish to do it. If you don't, that's cool. Thanks for listening for another year. As I say, we will get another short piece out to accompany this. But we are building up to Christmas. It might not be out before Christmas. So if you are celebrating, then I hope it's fun or peaceful or whatever you want from your Christmas. And let's hope you get lots of stuff to play and hobby with. But we'll leave that there. And hopefully it'll be a shorter period till part 2's out. But until then, you have been listening to The Imperial Truth.